So I'm calling out those coward physios, man. My pet peeve is when a physio refers a patient or client to a different physio or service, knowing full well that that patient has reached their rehab potential. So when that patient's gone through a rehab plan and they've got to a point where there's no further improvement and no progress, that physio, instead of having a frank, open, honest, integrity enhancing conversation with that patient, they hand that patient over to a different service so that they can have that conversation, because they've been spineless to not have that conversation with them and not be open with them, so that they're passing the buck onto a different service and a different person. So that to me winds me up. Not just for me as a person, because I've then got to have that conversation, or that other physio's then got to have that conversation, which is a fucking hard conversation to have. It's the most difficult part of being a physio, having to sit down and say, actually, we've done a rehab program, we've tried to get you back doing what you're doing, but actually rehab, physio, it's not fucking magic. I'm not Dumbledore. Physio isn't in the realm of Harry Potter. So to have that conversation with somebody is a difficult part of the job, and it's not something that you get into the job to do. You want to push that person forward and to make them as best as they can be. You want to listen to what their goals are and to put a rehab plan in place so that they can do that. But then when that person comes to the end of it and they've reached a plateau, because that does happen, the physio that has been treating that person should then have the courage to have that conversation with them, to be open, to have the integrity to sit down and say, I can't refer you on to another service because unfortunately we've got to a point here where we can't go any further, and it's about making you as safe as possible, giving you a plan that you can maintain what you're currently being able to do, and having the communication skills to do that. And granted, it is a skill, it's something that you have to work on, but if you're not working on it, it's not going to get better. So yeah, I'm calling out those physios. If you need training on it, if you know that it's something difficult for you to do, seek support with it. Go and speak to your seniors, go and speak to people that have had that experience. See if they can come along with you and have that conversation and give you tactics in terms of communicating with the patient in a tactful, empathetic way. Do some of your own research around it. Practice. Because there is a point where you have to say to a patient, we can't continue because there's not a lot else that physio is going to do, but there are avenues that we can take to make sure that you're supported within this. Are there places that we can signpost you to? Is there things that we can help support with? Because you look at the patient holistically, but passing the buck and being a coward, because that's what it is. It's not wanting to have that conversation because it's difficult. And do you know what? It's okay to turn around to them and say, oh, this is a difficult conversation for me to have with you because it's not why I get into physio. It's a tactic that I use when I'm having a difficult conversation. So don't pass the buck. if there's physios out there that are struggling with it, go and seek support. Go and get some of your own training around how to have that conversation and how to break shitty news, because that is part of the job sometimes. But you need exposure to it, and don't pass that difficult conversation onto somebody else, because it has implications for that patient then as well, because you not only are you not holding up your end of the bargain and being open, honest, and having your integrity about you, you're then potentially giving that patient some false hope. You're then potentially making that situation more difficult for that patient to have the acceptance. You're making it difficult then for, you're prolonging a conversation that needed to happen before they come across to a different service. And yeah, I'm all for the patient should have a decent crack of the whip. They should be able to be supported through that. But we all know sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes you need to plant a seed and say, actually, we might give you a go, and we'll see how that goes. But have the decency to let the other team know that that's potentially what's going to happen, and that's a conversation that you had. Don't not have that conversation and just refer them into a different service or to a different physio without having that conversation first, or by just thinking that you're passing the buck onto a different service because you haven't got the backbone to have that conversation. So I'll leave it there. If you are one of those physios, then think about what you're doing, reflect on it, try and get some support. And if there's any other tips out there from the physios in my network that think it might support a different physio in terms of having that conversation, feel free to drop it in the comments. If it's helped you, please like, share, and follow me at the Pitstop Box. So rant over. Have a nice Saturday. Bye.